This is Chet Holmgren, and I'm down to dunk.
This is AJ Mitchell, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Alex Crusoe, and I'm down to dunk.
It's like baby bottle pop. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is Adam Flagler, and I'm down to dunk.
Hey, it's Isaiah Hartenstein, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Cason Wallace, and I'm down to dunk.
I can't spell Lucas. Hey, how do you spell Lucas? How do you spell Lucas?
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
This is Nikola Topic, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Dylan Jones, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Isaiah Joe, and I'm down to dunk.
And there's probably like 50 to 75 Beanie Babies.
Give me like your top 3 Pokemon.
Bro, I can't even name.
This is Jay Will, and I'm down to dunk.
Sometimes the way his brain works is it leaves a lot to be desired.
This is Kenrich Williams, and I'm down to dunk.
Charmander.
Yeah.
Charmander. Or you're more of a Charmeleon guy.
Charmeleon.
This is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and I'm down to dunk.
Schlecht. You know what
Schlecht?
it means? Yeah.
That means like bad.
It means bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
Well, it was a good interview, so it wasn't bad.
J-Dub, year 3, and I'm down to dunk for the 3rd time. Thank you.
Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. Before we get to Michele Berra, who's with me every single Monday, I want to introduce a new sponsor to the show, and it's my guys, Aaron and Drew Reese at Shelter Insurance here locally. They're proud supporters of Down to Dunk and the Thunder. And listen up, Dunkers. You need an insurance agent that can help you navigate all the severe weather. We've had already some of it, and you need somebody that you can trust that specializes in protecting your home and other assets. These guys are the ones you should go to. Listen, I can tell you things like last year, Shelter ranked number 1 on the Forbes list of the world's best auto insurance companies. And right here in Oklahoma, they've been ranked number 1 for customer satisfaction by J.D. Power 6 of the last 7 years. But honestly, the thing that you need to know about these guys is that they're trustworthy, they're good people, and they'll serve you. And that's all really what you want, right? That's what you want in an insurance agent. You can call, text, or email Aaron or Drew today to get a quote. Protect what matters most with Shelter Insurance. You can contact Aaron at Their name is spelled R-U-I-Z, but it's pronounced Reese, I promise you, at shelterinsurance.com, or call at the numbers. I'm going to put them up here on the YouTube page, but you should call these guys. They're the best. And in fact, Drew and I share a lot of the similar things. Our kids go to the same school. Our kids basically have the same names, which is just kind of funny. Just have a lot in common with these guys. These guys are great. So go check out Aaron and Drew. They're good dudes. So Michele, you're back.
I'm back.
You're not feeling great.
No, I'm not awesome. My voice will not be good for this podcast, at least. It'll go away eventually.
Yeah. You're making it. I got Aaron and Drew's numbers up here. You can reach Aaron at 405-773-5500 or Drew at 405-478-7714. They're good guys. I'll leave their beautiful faces up here for a second on our YouTube page. Michele, you're not feeling great. We've got a few Thunder guys that aren't feeling great as well. All the big men are questionable, unless that's changed from the last time that I looked at it. The injury report indicated that basically all the Thunder bigs are questionable to play tonight. Hopefully they get at least one to play in this game. Even if it's Jay Will, that'd be great. Hartenstein's questionable with left hip soreness. Chet is questionable with left hip injury management. Jay Will is questionable with left hip tightness. There's something going on with the hips here. Aaron Wiggins is still out with this left Achilles tendonitis that I tend to not worry about it, but it just doesn't sound great, if we're being honest. I've seen him kind of walking around. Doesn't seem to be like favoring his one leg or the other heavily, but I don't know a whole lot about what's going on there. But a lot of hip stuff with the big guys tonight against the Chicago Bulls that have been super fun lately. But yeah, hopefully they get at least one big guy to play tonight.
Yeah, I mean, or we can get Kenrich and he has fantastic small lineups for the entire game. I mean, OKC already did that at the beginning of the season. I mean, Chicago is probably a team where even if Vooch is, a big man that has some post-up moves and whatnot, he's not someone who can destroy you physically. So, yeah, they can survive. I think that the idea is, hey, let's have all the big men with the same injury and then randomly pick one up, either to sit or to play. That may be what Dagnall is trying to do. But anyhow, tonight it's probably a night where you can get away with that. And so, I'm not sure. I hope that Chet plays because he already sat out one last game. So maybe he'll get back to play against old friend Josh Giddey.
Yeah, Josh Giddey's back. He was listed as questionable, but he is going to play tonight in OKC, which is good news. It would be a little bit strange if he didn't. Not because like he can't be injured, but it would just be weird. Like the only time that we're going to see him, he doesn't play. But I think he is going to play, which should be fun. The Bulls have been really fun as of late. Winning a lot of their games and, just looking good while they're doing it. Josh Giddey obviously had the big moment against the Lakers where he hits the half-court shot, which was one of like the moments of the regular season, I would say. So I look forward to watching them. They will be without Lonzo Ball's doubtful. I would assume Moo is out. Kevin Huerter is out, who's been really good for them since the trade. Trey Jones also out. And that's really about it. EJ Liddell, who's been out.
EJ Liddell
is not playing.
Yeah, once upon a time we were dreaming about him being our second round pick for a second. It's like a tweener, but he can probably play. Maybe he'll shoot a little bit. He has size. So it was kind of a dream from the past. By the way, I watched part of the last game against the Lakers. I think I watched more of the game in LA where Chicago won again, not super duper easily, but again. And in that game, I think that we discussed it offline, but I don't remember if it was you or Rylan or both. The fact that Josh Giddey played a decent defense against Luka Doncic, maybe we said it maybe. That part of the game I did not expect. I'm not sure if that is a praise on Josh, which, well, it surely is, or the fact that Luka couldn't shake him, really. So I'm very curious to see. I think that if you want to play a brand of basketball that works with Josh Giddey, having 4 guys that can really shoot the basketball, and Huerter is one of them, Kobe White is one of them, Vooch is one of them, and having him just being your creator, which I still think that what Presti said at the beginning of the season was kind of an idea that he really had. So the idea of Josh being the guy off the bench who manufacture possessions for them, that could have worked if you think about the lineup with Joe, with Chet, with Dub, and maybe with Lou Dort. Just overload the defensive side and try to have Josh just creating with the second unit. I think that could have worked. I think that the idea of Topic is roughly the same, maybe with a little bit of shooting potential. But even Josh Giddey is shooting much better this season. He's 38% on 4 attempts. So, I'm very interested to see. I'm not trying to say, hey, the trade was a bad one from Presti, because I think that what Caruso brings for OKC is extremely necessary. But maybe today, even with the idea that he will get a big enough payday, that was not a horrible trade for Chicago, because the team is kind of working with him on the court. I don't know the ceiling, but if you don't do the trade, I'm not sure that Chicago is doing this either, because they were really lacking in terms of shot creation and stuff like that. So it's a little bit like the Paul George for Domas and Oladipo, where everybody killed that trade immediately, and then, this is not as bad as the initial reaction. So
yeah.
I'm glad that for Josh, it's working out better than what was anticipated at the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm. I am super curious to see what this looks like in October, because we all know that like there's a lot of wacky stuff that happens in February and March in the NBA. You know, and in the month of March, he's averaging 29-9 basically. He's almost averaging a triple-double.
He can get to 15 by 15 to get me my bowl prediction. That he cannot do. So
no.
Miffed.
But like you look back in like November, in 16 games, he was averaging 10, 5, and 7, you know?
Yeah.
And some of this is like the usage rate has gone up. It's not gone up as much as you would think. I mean, like in December, in 8 games, he averaged 14, 9, and 8 with a 23% usage rate.
Mm-hmm.
And in the month of March, he has a 25% usage rate. So it's not like he's got like some crazy usage rate. He's just been a way more efficient player overall. Shooting it well from 3 the last couple months. Shooting it well from the field. He's 50% from the field. Really good for Josh. Really good for his pocketbook. Really good for his negotiating for his contract this summer. Because I think he's made himself a whole lot of money, especially with the way that he's played against the Lakers. Like, I think that those games matter. I think those matter to the fans. I think those matter to the team. And I think they give you some negotiating. But I still do wonder a little bit of like, okay, where's the real Josh Giddey within all of this? It's probably somewhere in the middle. And perhaps, and he's going to improve too. Like, the guy is still super young. Like, he's 22 years old still. So there's still a lot of runway for Josh to develop in Chicago. I'm just so curious to see what number they land on this summer for him.
That's crucial.
I think it's tricky. I think it's tricky. I'm not saying that you wouldn't want to have him. He's a very unusual player. You can't find 6'8" point guards like that are tough as nails. That I think he's uber competitive, and I think he's super smart. And I think he is getting better as a shooter. But I just wonder, like, is that a guy that you want to be one of your 2 best players? Is kind of the question that you have to ask yourself. And I think it's a fine way for the Chicago Bulls to start this rebuild of sorts. For them is to have him. But if you're going to pay him and Kobe White, then I'm worried that you are definitely dooming yourself for the middle of the NBA for a long period of time.
Yeah. What's a good number for you? 120 for 4 years? Which he will refuse. Point blank, I think.
120 for 4 years. I mean, yeah. I think that
flat, like
that
30,
makes sense. Flat. I mean, that makes a ton of sense, but I think he's going to get more.
I think he wants more. I would also probably, if you are Chicago, you can probably get up to more. I'm not sure if you want the years on that deal, though.
Yeah.
Like 4 years, that Daniel Zanolini in the chat says 35 per year. That's a number. I mean,
it's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah. It's too much for me. I'm not sure who's gonna set the market for him.
Yeah.
Like, for example, with Chet Holmgren, if you let him get there, it's going to be a max. No questions asked by many teams. Not one more. Even with the health concern. Same with J-Dub. With Giddey, I'm not entirely sure if you have a team that is willing to get this high for a player like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not entirely sure. So I mean, they can probably do the same that OKC did with Ennis and see. And if he goes, he goes. I mean, if you get to the right number for the wrong player, then it's not horrible, but you know.
Yeah, I think that it's tricky. It's tricky with Kobe White too. He's due for an extension as well, and he's only making $12.8 next year. So I mean, their books just get super tricky really fast. You know, they do have Vooch coming off the books, but they got Patrick Williams on this $18 million flat contract until 2029.
That's such a weird deal.
Which is wild. Yeah. I mean, they also have Jalen Smith on this almost like $10 million contract, which is just a little befuddling to me as well. But not our problem.
Did they acquire him with that contract or sign him to that contract?
I think they signed him to the contract. I'm pretty
that's
sure.
fine. Well, that contract in the future is not really problematic. It's just why? Why did you have to do that?
It's you can go find a guy like him on the minimum every single summer. Every single summer.
Not OKC's issue, as you were saying. No,
not the Thunder's problem at all. The best net rating of all time keeps getting better. They are now on NBA.com a plus 13 on the season, which is like I can't overemphasize how absurd that is. Like let's go check out what did those crazy Warriors teams that I believe are the best. It's the best roster ever assembled. Steph, Clay, Draymond, Kevin Durant, plus 11.4.
Yeah.
That's what they were. What about the 72-win Warriors? What were the 72-win Warriors? They were plus 10.
Yeah.
They were a plus 10. What were the 67-win San Antonio Spurs in that same season? Plus 11. Interesting. Very interesting. What about the 96-97 Chicago Bulls? What were they? Plus 11.8. That seems lower than the Thunder's. We're talking. I mean, what about the 2000 Lakers? Plus 9. What about the 2001 Lakers? They won it again. I'm not even seeing where their net rating is. Plus 3.5. Okay, whatever. They're plus 13.
Yeah.
This is one of the best teams, one of the best regular season teams of all time. And I think that you can make the argument, like looking back, it's hard to look back now because we're here today. But I think that we will look back at this team and say that was the best that is one of like the best like 3 regular season teams of all time. If not the best regular season team of all time. Like you look at the defense. The defense, they're 3 points per 100 possessions better than the number 2 team. 3. I mean, to get to 3 points per 100 possessions worse than the Orlando Magic, who are number 2, you got to go all the way to 10, to the Miami Heat. Like, that's where you have to go. It's absurd. They're also 4th in offense at a 119.1. They're tied for 3rd with Denver right now in offensive rating. This is a historic team that continues to just show up. They beat Indiana on Saturday in a game that I thought, you know what? The Thunder might be due for a loss. And Indiana is wacky, and they have played some strange games here. They scored 160 points in regulation the other day against the Wizards. You know, they've got some firepower. You know, what's going to happen here in this game? I thought, you know, they lost to all their big men in that game. J. Will didn't play, Chet didn't play, and Hartenstein went out early, and it just didn't matter. They just kept playing. They played a little bit of Brandon Carlson. They played a lot of small ball with Kenrich Williams, and they stomped this Pacers team 132 to 111 against a team that's like doing well in the Eastern Conference. Like they're a home court advantage team in the East right now. And the Thunder made them look really bad in that game. They were without Benedict Mathurin, but I don't think Benedict Mathurin is going to change much about this game.
Even if he was, the point is, and it's a similar story to what they had against the Grizz, against the Kings, not against the Clippers, but in many, many games, even against good teams. Like, they may start the game not at the best of their capabilities. Like, they can start slow sometimes. But then you can clearly see at a certain point of the game just clicking. And if they click, you're done. And in a I think that Royce Young was talking about the avalanche of the Thunder coming, and they are doing it no matter of the record of the team. They're just dismantle teams. Sometimes it doesn't happen. It's not all the time. Otherwise, there would be 80 and change wins for the season. But it happens a lot. And you can clearly see on the opponents, what are we going to do now? We can't get to our stuff. We're missing everything. They are not missing a shot. And sometimes it's like Lou Dort moonball. Sometimes it's just a couple of defensive possessions where you get Casey Wallace on their ball handler and he just steals the ball and then deflects the ball and then steals the ball again and then dunks. And it's like,
he was so good.
What can I do if Casey Wallace, second-year player, is completely changing the flow of the game by himself? What can a team do if Lou Dort can change the course of a game by himself? Sometimes Aaron Wiggins. Sometimes it's Isaiah John not missing a single shot for 5 minutes. Even when Shea plays horrifically bad, like against the Clippers, they found a way to win against a team, and this was probably the last game that we discussed together. So it's like this team is just on a totally different level of confidence, effectiveness for the regular season. Now, is this what of this can be safely projected into the playoffs? I think that with a team that is as handsy as the Thunder, you can really project defense. Because if this is the whistle that they get now, just imagine in the playoffs, they will be so much aggressive, so much more aggressive than what they are now. Because they can. They will be able to do. They can spend Caruso. He can get on the floor and spend 5 fouls. And OKC will have no issues whatsoever. They have Kevin Wallace. They have Lou Dort. They have Dub. So, I mean, this is what OKC can put on the court in the playoffs. The shooting, that is the variance. They can get, for 4 games, cold from 3-point range. Yes, that can happen. But on the defensive side, what they can do to teams, it's astonishing.
Yeah, it is. And Rick Carlisle even talked about it after the game. He said this is the best team on the planet right now. So the numbers say it, the record says it, the whole thing, and you cannot have any lags, and we had too many. Yeah, that's about right. I mean, they truly are the best team on the planet right now. And I think people are recognizing it. I think that we sometimes, I mean, I definitely get like this, or I get like a chip on my shoulder about it. I'm like, no one's really recognizing how good this team is. You know, you get like that. But I think people do. I think people recognize that this is like the cream of the crop in the Western Conference, and they've been the best team in the NBA this season. I think there's no question about it. You did have like the whole deal with Cleveland, but I mean, Cleveland lost 4 games in a row. The Thunder haven't lost more than 2 games in a row the whole season. And so, like, and I mean, they've lost 5 games in their last 9. You know, I mean, that's something the Thunder haven't done all season. So I know 60-15 is something to be extremely proud of. I would never say that, like, it's not. I mean, it's a very, very good record, a very, very good record. But the Thunder are 62-12 and have been extremely steady. And in fact, like, they are sharpening the blade as they get closer to the playoffs. Like, a lot of times you see a lull from teams, and some of it happens because you're starting to play different guys, and your same lineups aren't there night in, night out. I think they're not only are guys like getting banged up, but I also think that they're trying to find a rest for guys here and there. But the Thunder continue to like sharpen the blade night in, night out with this team, and it's just wild to me. Like, it's just crazy to me that they can continue to do that while big guys are missing, or, you know, there's been 2 games that they just haven't played anybody, and I think that we may see more of that down the stretch of this season. And I kind of hope that we do, because I think that these guys need some rest and don't need to get more banged up as the rest of the season goes. because no one's catching them. They're 13 and a half games above the number 2 seed. I mean, they have already locked up the conference.
Yeah.
You look on ESPN and they've got the little Z next to their logo, which means clinched the conference. So
and it was a week ago.
Yeah, it's been a minute too. Yeah, this didn't just happen.
Yeah, they have just one thing to play for. It's getting into the playoffs in rhythm and possibly ahead of Cleveland. That is the 2 things that you have to do. By the way, quick trivia for you: in the 2 consecutive losses of the season, who was in both games? If you remember, the best rebounder of the team. It's not the same for 2 days. For the 2 games, you have just to guess who was in game 1 and who was in game 2.
Oh man, I mean, I know Dub was the starting center. I think he was in these games. So I mean, I would guess
was he the best rebounder.
He often is not. Gosh, who else would it be? They're playing super small.
Who else?
Is it our guy Lou Dort?
Is definitely Lou Dort. Against the Spurs, he gobbled 12 rebounds. And against the Mavs, the best rebounder of OKC got 5 boards, and it was Lou Dort, together with Biggs and Jalen Williams. So this is why they lost 2 in a row. They never lost 2 in a row with at least a center in the roster.
Yeah.
That's probably going to happen over the next few games because, I mean, they can literally play nobody. Well, they cannot play Dukas because he's out, so they have to play somebody of the normal rotation. But this is why they lost the 2 games. And they lost those 2 games because they were at the end of a week where they played small, and it was clear, especially against the Spurs, that they were just so tired. Just extremely tired. And then they bounced back against Portland. And then I think Portland was the first game of Hartenstein. Yes, it was. So the Spurs was the last game before Hartenstein came back. And it was just breathing again. And they were going all out in those games.
Yeah. I mean, Hartenstein, I think it's good to just point out how good he's been. Yeah. He's helped a ton with the rebounding for sure. Like, you look at the way that they've been able to rebound, especially on the defensive end. Like, they're 3rd in defensive rebounds per game right now.
Yeah. That's weird.
That's just
insane.
Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Offensive rebounds, they're 21st. But they're a good rebounding team. They out-rebounded Indiana the other night without any bigs. And it's not just, I mean, it's a personnel thing for sure that they upgraded the personnel. But it's also that they're just a better rebounding team. I think some of it is like you're getting some of these younger guys, like they're getting smarter, they're getting stronger, they're just becoming more aware of how to play the NBA game. And so you have guys up and down the roster that are able to get rebounds. But certainly, like, playing the double big lineup, which we've talked about a lot in this show, has been very helpful to them. But yeah, everybody that played grabbed at least 2 rebounds in that game, and you got like 5 from Isaiah Joe, and you got 5 from Caruso, and you got 8 from Kenrich, and like, it's a lot of it is just team rebounding. And they have just gotten a lot better at it.
And it's also a schematic thing. It's not just, hey, they care more. No, I think that there have been changes. The image of guards flying in for rebounds. It's not just like a moment in the game. That is by design. The weak side guy is active, more ready to get there. So it's something where, yes, Cason Wallace is definitely stronger and more athletic. He's really working on that side of his game, of his body. but it's also like the coaching stuff, realizing that this was a big issue, that probably they were compromising a little bit too much. They could win by playing this still heavy game and not rebounding the ball, but maybe there was like tweaks here and there. Having a big man really helps in the boxing out and stuff like that. But it's also like the idea of, we may need to tweak that a little bit. They are still extremely active in the steals department, but they are solid now. And I mean, if you take this team and you put up the second chance point for the opponents, they are not as good as they are. So the fact that they are controlling the boards, that is something that was dramatic in the playoffs last year. For just rebound after rebound after rebound. That is why they lost that series, together with the fact that they didn't shoot the ball particularly well. So I really think that this is, yes, personnel, and Hartenstein is a big part of the deal, but also tweaking things, because even when Chet is on the court, the rebounds are just better under control compared to last year. Speaking of High Harten, then I'll stop this rambling. He puts so much juice in the game. Like when he makes these passes, these wow passes, and he really looks for the end of the possession, you can really see him like spiking the ball and then watching what happens. That gives me like, wow, this is a player that is really having a ton of fun doing the proper things. Yeah. And the same is Kaysen. Like Kaysen is, when you see him attached to a ball handler, you can clearly see in his eyes, just give me that ball. I really want that ball. There is nothing else that matters right now. So guys doing these little things with excellence and like having a certain attitude in doing so, like being like trying to be the best at those little things, not just hey, I'm gonna hoist 5 mid-rangers so I can get I don't know, next contract. No, it's hey, I'll try to smother you for the entire game, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to answer some listener questions. And we're back after that quick break. We're going to fire through some listener questions. This one comes from my buddy J. Brian Porter. He wants to know, with less bench minutes in the playoffs, is it possible for AJ Mitchell to come back and earn playoff minutes? I don't think so, but I also would never try to say that I know what Mark Daigneault is going to do with his rotations and what he's going to do from night to night. There are still times where you can see that they need a creator. I just wonder about conditioning and what AJ looks like, and then being thrown into like these like high leverage moments that are really mentally tough. Not that I don't think AJ could handle it, but it's really tough for any rookie to handle those moments. And so I would temper my expectations, I guess is what I would say, for AJ for the rest of this season. And then we'll just kind of see, maybe they ease him in for a few of these games down the stretch. Maybe they don't. I don't know. But he'll be back next year for sure. And I think that he could play a pretty big role for them next year. And a guy that I think will, I anticipate him being part of this Thunder team for a while. But yeah, seems like that injury really just kind of derailed him for the rest of this year.
Yeah, 7 games, because he won't play tonight. So 7 games is not enough to get into a groove. So, I mean, it's also setting him up. If you're not feeling 100% comfortable that he can go all out, then why risking to play him in an environment that, well, maybe you have a moment where you can give him like a playoff moment, because maybe nothing is working and you said, okay, let's try this. But like it's probably sparse appearances, if any, for AJ. And again, I'm not sure if you have like an update in terms of his health. But I don't know where he's at in the recovery. That's a big part.
Yeah. From @Bullerjack, he wants to know, or he wants us to rank who would need to have the best playoff series for OKC to advance past the second round? Dub, Chet, Dort, iHeart. How would we rank these?
This is probably the same as asking who I think mattered the most for OKC.
Yeah.
And I would put Chet first. If Chet has an amazing series, I just think that he is the most impactful of the four. Then it's probably J-Dub. And then it's really hard for me to decide. In general, I would think that having a great Lou Dort series is probably more important against the majority of the teams. If it's a specific team, then maybe it can be Hartenstein. So, for example, if it's Denver, then probably Hartenstein is a bit more important than Lou Dort. Mm-hmm. But I think that if Lou Dort has a great series and at least one of J-Dub and Chet have a great series, then I don't think that anything else matters.
Yeah. I tend to agree. I think it's all matchup dependent. Yeah, like who do they get in round 2? I think really, really matters. And if you look at the standings today and like potential matchups that could happen in round 2, you're looking at Lakers-Memphis right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that Dort is going to be more impactful in both those series, to be honest.
Than Hartenstein?
Probably.
Yeah. Do you agree with Chet being first, or do you think that J-Dub is more important?
I don't know. I think they're both extremely important to the team.
Yeah.
I think that they both need to play well. I think that they need Dub's scoring more than they need Chet's scoring. I think Chet will do all the other rim protection, move the ball, create space, all of that. I think he's still trying to gain a lot of strength back in his leg. Like you think about the time off that he had. Mm-hmm. And like you and I'm kind of in this boat too right now where like you look at both my legs and like my one leg is much bigger than the other because I couldn't do anything. And I think he's had to battle the same kind of stuff where and I think he's doing really well.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that like, oh, he's not going to be able to do it, but it just takes a long time, man. I think it's just really tough. And I think that once he gets back next season, I think that he'll be closer to like full strength, but not that he's not played well since he's been back. But I think you just think about like the strength of his legs. And it's like, it just takes time. So I think that he's shown that he can do all the little things. The rim protection's still there. The passing's still there. I've really even loved his mentality toward the three-point shot since he's been back. I thought that's been really, really good. So, yeah, I think that you need him to play well. We saw that in Boston where he was like the number 2 guy. Like if he plays like that, like they're winning the title.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, they're winning the championship. So like maybe I'm talking myself onto your side at this point where like if he plays like that in a series, it's over. No one has a chance. No one has a chance against them. So yeah, I mean, I guess maybe now I'm talking myself into Chet, J-Dub, and then probably Dort and then Hartenstein in a second round series against one of those teams. You just need Dort. Like Dort is going to be one of the more important players if you're playing against Luka Doncic and Ja Morant. He just is.
Yeah, and also like if you have like a great Dub series where he scores like 30, efficient 30.
Oh.
And also that is enough.
You'll also win the title that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. It's like you just have these guys going crazy while Shea's doing what he does. And maybe Shea needs to average 45 for a series. Like, I don't know. Like that could also be a thing. I think there's a lot. That's the good thing about this Thunder team is there's a lot of ways for them to win. And they've shown that throughout this season. It's like there's not just one way for them to win. But I would put Dort high up. I mean, you could even argue that like Dort could jump Dub or Chet in a series. Like you just need like one of them to be very good, and you need Dort to be like on the top of his game.
Yeah.
At least defensively to play against them. Okay, next question from Hoodie Gallo. Which player do you see getting the most playoff minutes? Alex Caruso, Kaysen Wallace, Aaron Wiggins.
I really think it's Kaysen. I do
too. I do too. I think that there's a lot of love for Kaysen from Mark and the coaching staff as well. I'll look it up, but I don't have to really look at the numbers to know that he's played the most minutes of those three. He's fifth in minutes on the team at 27.6 minutes per game. And then we're talking about total minutes played. He is fourth on the team. It's Shea, Dub, Lou, and Kaysen. He's played almost 200 more minutes than Aaron Wiggins has. He's played, and obviously Caruso's missed a ton of time, but like Kaysen he's durable. He's versatile. You can count on him to be a lot like Lou, where he's just like in the game. Like you don't have to worry about him, and not that you do with these other guys either, but like he is just on full tilt from the moment that he steps on the floor, whether he's coming off the bench, whether he's starting. There's no ego there with him. He's getting better. Like his layups with either hand have been ridiculous this season. Yeah. Like the high off the glass layups. And some of those in some games, like they really need him to do that. In the Boston game that we mentioned about Chet, like he was awesome in that game as well.
Yeah, he was.
And I think that you need, I think that he is absolutely the guy from that group. And I don't really think it's that much of a question.
It's in terms of playing time, yes. In terms of change of the pace kind of guy, I think that Caruso holds that record. I mean, that trophy. When he comes, I don't think that he will average like extremely high minutes. I think that they will average the most meaningful minutes of the bench, if that makes sense. And if you ask me who is going to have the biggest game among the three, it's probably Wiggins. Probably Wiggins will have a great playoff game where it just goes off. And the other two, I mean, I think that Kaysen is the more steady. The guy will get more minutes, and Caruso will just get these stints where it's just creating havoc and being just awesome.
Yeah.
Or at least this is
I can see Caruso closing more games than Kaysen. Just because I think he can defend a little bit bigger guys.
And a little bit better in general. I mean, Caruso is just fantastic.
Defensively, he's unbelievable. At X Larry Miller X, thoughts on having Zach Lowe back around? I feel like having a voice as big as his championing the Thunder would help the narrative in the mainstream media. It's great that Zach Lowe is going to be back. It's wonderful. It's great. I mean, there's definitely been a void without him in the NBA world. So I look forward to listening to his show when it's back.
Same.
Let's see. At Horath Nath 24631, do officials actually call less fouls in the playoffs? I've heard a lot of people say the free throw discrepancy will die down in the playoffs due to officials having a slower whistle.
I'm not sure if that is the case in terms of general numbers. It changes though. Like if you know that a certain way of defense is going to get called in the regular season, you probably are a little bit more mindful. If you can ramp up the intensity and get the same amount of fouls but defending harder, then you probably do it. That is why I think that maybe calling less fouls is not entirely accurate. It's not calling the same fouls, but it's accurate. I'm sure that Shea will have a little bit more of an issue generating contacts in the same way that he does in the regular season. I'm not sure that in general. I don't have the data, so I don't know if the data.
Well, it's funny because like you look at you, and I need to look at specifically at Shea, but you look at personal fouls drawn, which is a stat on NBA.com. The Thunder actually drew more fouls in the playoffs than they did in the regular season. They drew 18. Yeah, they drew 18 a game in the regular season. They drew 19 in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's not like calling less, it's calling different, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Except
that's
for the half
right.
block on PJ. But anyhow, that was technically a foul.
Yeah. I need to look and see what Shea did last season in the regular season versus the playoffs, because a lot of people love to talk about that. They love to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think he became a dad during just before the first round. He was kind of off for the first 3 games, and then he was just amazing against Dallas. Like he won 2 games by himself, basically.
Yeah, 8.7 free throw attempts in the regular season last year, and then in the playoffs, he had 8.1. So like the difference is
It's
small.
marginal. It's not like it's a bit. It's almost 10%, but it's it's 7% or whatever. But anyhow, again, I think that it's not less. It's different.
Yeah, the game is called differently. So, yeah, the numbers actually bear out that like the Thunder drew more fouls in the playoffs overall. So, all right, let's answer a couple more questions. Let's see. Extreme Thunder fan F, do you have any concerns for any of the injured players not named Chet or Ihart, since both are healthy scratches? I don't have any reason to be super concerned about any of these guys right now. I don't think anybody's out long term. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot of concerns.
No, me neither. I mean, we don't have like tangible reason to be concerned. Then let's try not to be until we have.
Yeah. Zach Deeg wants to know what Michele's usual is before breakfast or before work. Sorry. What do you usually eat for breakfast before work?
Oh, I do intermittent fasting, so I don't eat. I just wake up, do my run when I'm healthy, not now. Now I'm just sad. And then I just get my single shot of espresso, black, no sugar.
Wow.
So it's very boring. It's probably not Italian, but I'm not a breakfast guy.
It's too bad. I love breakfast, as everyone on the planet knows.
It's just not for me. I mean, I don't really like to have a sweet taste just when I get up. I don't like cereals, not too much. And then it's just I realized at a certain point that I was eating just because. And so I said, okay, let's try not to do that. And I have breakfast at lunch. So I have yogurt, I have some like almonds and stuff like that, and then a fruit. And then I have 1 meal per day.
Wow.
At dinner.
Wow.
Yeah.
Michele is a beast. I'll tell you that. Okay, last question.
Or a moron. I'm not sure which one, but I hope that I'll discover that during my life.
Stop. At Duckboy V2 says, I'm visiting OKC to watch both Lakers games and coming all the way from Melbourne, Australia. This is very cool. Would it be possible to meet with you, Andrew, at one of the games and have you sign my Big Dog shirt? Oh my gosh, I don't know that we're gonna ruin your Big Dog shirt. Super excited to see this team play in person. I will certainly be at the second Lakers game. So yes. My seat is currently at the bottom of 108. I believe this will be the case for tonight, unless something changes between now and then. But if you want to come say hello to me too, you can come say hello at the bottom corner of 108, sitting there with, I think Anthony Slater's in town.
Wow.
I'll be sitting there with Joel Lorenzi. Paris Lawson's down there as well. It's quite the crew down there, so feel free. Steve McGeehee down there. So feel free to come say hello. Always love to see dunkers. I saw a dunker from Arkansas came to say hello the other night. So grateful to talk to any dunkers at any time. So yeah, Duck Boy V2. You can come and say hello. Would love to meet you. We're very, very grateful to all the dunkers.
2 more things before we go. First, York in the chat says, Michele, it's like a squirrel. Yes, this is exactly what my wife said every single day. Like, why are you having a squirrel-like lunch? I said, well, it's me. So the other thing is, I'm so glad that we have Paris on the OKC crew. He is so smart. She is so smart. Like, just
Paris is the best.
Yeah. And we are we have so many great things on the Thunder media. I mean, I think that Cage is getting better. Fisher is getting better.
I agree.
I actually listen to almost every OKC broadcast except for some stuff like Calibro and Lamar Hurd for Portland or New Orleans or Breen. Yeah, just those very few exceptions. And I mean, to have guys like Gallo, guys like Royce covering the team, and it's just fantastic. But yeah, Paris has been one of the greatest addition. She's very, very, very good.
She's great. I talk to people across the country, and she's somebody that we talk about often as like being somebody that's super talented here in OKC. So enjoy her while you got her, OKC. That's what I have to say. I think somebody's going to try to snatch her up. That's my prediction. That's my bold prediction.
This is what I would do. There are so many sideline reporters that are great. Paris is in the extremely good echelon. So
I agree. I agree. We did have a super chat that we need to get to as well from Philip Inke. He wants to know, am I crazy to think that Dylan Jones has looked great lately? Effective in transition and seems to have more chemistry with others when he's on the court. I do think that Dylan has looked better lately. Yes.
It's also March.
It's March.
But yes.
There's not a lot of takeaways. I don't think that they'll use him come playoff time, but when he has played minutes, he hasn't been completely out of control.
Especially defensively.
It's good.
He had a few moments where he was actually aggressive in a good way and in the right position. If he learns how to be on the court in a certain way, then he's versatile. I mean, he has vision. He knows what to do generally with his body, which is very good. He's strong. There was a possession, I don't remember who was I think it was against Memphis, where just like he just slid on the right side, like anticipating the other guy, and this guy just bumped into him and bounced back. So he's really strong. He has a strong core. So if he learns how to move his feet, how to just be in the right position, then he can be effective defensively. Offensively, I think it will just take time, and it will just be dependent on the shooting, because he has potential to be good enough offensively. I'm not sure how, but I mean, to stay on the court in an NBA game, probably so. But if he learns to be like steady defensively and impactful there, then he has a chance to just stay on the court.
Mm-hmm.
A long way.
Yeah, it's gonna be
a long way to
It's
go,
gonna be
but
tough for Dylan. It's gonna be tough. I don't want to sugarcoat it. It's gonna be tough for Dylan to make it in OKC. Like anybody that's at the end of the roster who doesn't have a solid footing, it's just gonna be tough for them to be here long term.
Yeah,
it's gonna be really, really tough.
Tough for AJ to get minutes next year. It's going to be tough for him. It's going to be tough for Topic. There are guys
Topic is coming back, and they've used a lottery pick on him, which is a very, very valuable asset.
Yeah.
And you want to figure out what's going on there.
Yeah.
Like you really, really do. And I think that Topic is one of, under the radar, one of the more interesting pieces on the team. Like, no question. Okay, so tonight we got Chicago in town, the last game of March. Wow. We have April tomorrow. April Fools. Hope I don't see any of you guys on the streets on April Fool's Day. Detroit on Wednesday, and then Houston on the road on Friday. And then we have those 2 Lakers games, followed by a game against Phoenix, where Kevin Durant may or may not be playing. He injured his ankle and is out at least a week. And then they finish off the season with a couple duds in Utah and in New Orleans. So Very interesting to see where they fall. Also, if they win tonight, they will have officially set the record for most wins against an opposing conference. They need to win just one of these games against either Chicago or Detroit. They win both of them, you just smash the record, which is only 3 losses against an opposing conference. So they really just need to win one of these. And if they win tonight in Chicago, boy, are we going to be talking a lot about this record that only very few people care a lot about, including me. So
me, you, and Ryan probably. That's the people in the entire globe. Yeah.
Yep, yeah. We care about it. J-Dub on Saturday said that stats like that are for you guys, not for us. And I'm like, you know what? I think you're right because I love it. I think he's absolutely right. Because I eat it up. Jack in the chat cares too. All right. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you guys again on Wednesday.